We're the visionaries, man. What it do with y'all? Welcome back to another video out in it, bit. You know what I'm saying? Now look, man, this is gonna be a dating related type of video. I might make two today, I'm not sure. But I want to talk about something today. And I already made a video about this like 2 months ago. But I think I talked about it like at the end of the video. So therefore, look, G, it might be a 50% chance a whole lot of individuals didn't look at it. And I'm perfectly fine with that, like at the end of the video. Because we live in a day and age where people's attention spans is at an all-time low. I'm telling you what it is, man. But with that being said, though, right? With that being said, I want to make it again, and I'm just going to get it straight to the point. Real talk, though, man. So, without further ado, let me talk about it. I don't know what I'm going to title the video yet, but I do know what it is that I want to talk about. Look, G, and this video is going to be for all the men. Because look, man, you might be a man right now, and there's something it is that you might be noticing when it comes to dating. Hold on. Let me pat my head right quick. Look, G, it's early in the morning. Real talk, though, man. But look, man. Are we good? But anyways, man. So look, man. You as a man watching this video, there might be something it is that you're noticing. And the thing it is that you're noticing, or what you might be saying, you might be saying, damn, dating is on the hardest difficulty. Damn, why is dating so hard? Damn, why is dating so impossible for my ass? Real talk though, man. That's what you as a man might be thinking about. And what I was talking about in that video I made like 2 months ago now, I was saying the reason as to why you're thinking about that is simply because, look, G, you are not in your prime. You are not in your prime. And since you are not in your prime, therefore, I'm just going to tell you what it is. These females don't give a damn. I'm telling you what it is. They don't care. Look, man, one thing it is I learned about in dating, my G, they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't care if you are not in your prime when you're a man. Yeah, real talk, man. They don't look, man. If you did not hit your prime yet, look, G, they gonna look the other way. Real talk. That's just what it is. So that's the reason. Look, man, that's the main reason as to why you coming up with this with these thought processes is saying, damn, why is dating so hard? Because you're not in your prime. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you was in your prime, they would not be doing that shit. I'm telling you what it is, man. But there's something else it is that I wanted to talk about. Because you was, like I said, you as a man watching this video, you think you got it hard? You think you got it bad? I just told you the reason as to why you have it bad right now. Because you're not in your prime. But you see, there's something, us as men, right? Us as men, see, we only think about the current moment. We only think about the now. Real talk, man. You're only focused, like when it comes to dating, you're only focusing on what's happening to you in that present moment. But I'm here to tell you right now, man. I'm here to tell you right now. Look, G, you think you got it bad? When you're not in your prime, you think you got it bad? Oh, no, no, no. Oh, these females gonna have it worse than your ass. They're gonna have it worse than you, my G. You see, like I said, I already made a video about this, but look, man, you as a man, right? You as a man, when you are not in your prime as a man, you see, you're not in your prime for a set amount of time. Look, G, your prime, look, man, like high school, and look, man, 17 and below, that does not count. Like, what I mean by not being in your prime is when you get into the real world. I'm telling you what it is, man. So, as a man, right? Look, man, because a man's currency, right? You see, look, man, a man's currency is how great he could provide, aka money. I'm telling you what it is. So that's your currency, my G. Your currency as a man is your money. These currencies, I mean, hence that word I'm saying, currency. Currency is something of like value. So your currency as a man is your money. And on the female side, their currency is their beauty. Real talk, their currency is their looks. Look, man, So that's their currency first. Their looks is their currency first. Second is money. On your end as a man, your currency first is your money. Second is your looks. I'm telling you the game. Real talk. So right then and there, y'all got two different attraction type of currencies. So point it is I'm trying to get across, right? You as a man, when you first step into the real world, there's something it is that you're going to notice. And the thing it is that you're going to notice is basically you're going to be, look, man, it's going to be a 99.9% chance that you're going to be flat out broke when you first start your journey into the real world. I mean, you got to think about it like you are in the beginning stages. So with that being said, this is why I said earlier in the video, look, G, they don't give a fuck if you in the beginning stages. They ain't, look, man, it's not even just with these females. It's just people in general. See, one thing about people, man, look, man, they don't want to be part of the come up process. They just, look, man, they do not want to be part of the come up process. They just want to be part of the success. They want to be part of the finish line. They want to be part of saying, like, when you finally make it, when you 100% complete, that's when they're going to come along and say, that's when they want to be with your ass. I'm telling you what it is, man. If you're not there on some shit, what's going to happen is everybody, I'm not even just talking about women, my G, everybody going to look the other way. I'm telling you how I be on some shit. So with that being said, though, right? So with that being said, back to the dating example, that's what they doing to your ass. When you 18, here you go, you 18, you broke, 19, broke, 20, broke, 21, broke, 22. You just trying to figure out the meaning of the real world and just, motherfucker, you just trying to figure life out in the real world. What's going to happen is you're going to figure that shit out your damn self. I'm telling you what it is. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Damn sure like 18 and 25 though. But like, real talk though, man. 26, 27, 28, 29. Real talk, man. When you're not in your prime, my G, what's gonna happen is, I'm telling you, man, they're gonna look the other way. But point it is I'm trying to get across though, right? Is, look, G, your prime, like, not the prime, but like, you know, look, man, you not being in your prime, that's limited. Let me say this one more time. You as a man, you not being in your prime as a man, that's limited, my G. You're going to have to sacrifice like 10 to 15 years of you not being in your prime as a man. When it comes to these hoes, when it comes to these females, my G, when it comes to these females, you see, I feel like I gotta sneeze. But look, man. Hold up. Whew. I ain't trying to sneeze. Real talk though, man. But yeah, man. You see, let me talk about it right quick. So, as I clearly just said, you as a man, right? As I clearly just said, you as a man, when you're 18 all the way to like 18 to 29, yeah. When you like 18 to 29, because look, man, I mean, I guess you could say 18 to 30, 18 to 35. I guess you could say that because, you know, if you want to say 30s is young, you know, I mean, if you want to say that on some shit, but I mean, more so like 18 to 29 or 18 to 30, something like that. But look, man, point of this I'm trying to get across though, right? Point of this I'm trying to get across is during those time frames, right? During those time frames, while you as a man is going through it in dating because you're not in your prime, that's when these females are in their prime. And when these females are in their prime, just know this. They got dating on the easiest of the easiest of the easiest of the easiest difficulty, my G. They could pull a man just like that. Real talk. They could literally pull, they could pull any man that they want, my G. Because they got dating on the easiest difficulty because they are in their prime. They are in their prime ages. Like I said, why are they in their prime? They're in their prime because their attraction is their currency. That's their currency that's their currency on this earth. Their beauty is their currency. Why do you think it's a whole lot of men, right? Why do you think it's a whole lot of men? The S word that rhymes with limps. It's a reason for it being. Because They falling for their beauty. When they see a beautiful female, right? They're thinking to themselves, they're thinking like, oh my God, she is so beautiful. Let me give her a compliment. There's nothing wrong with giving these hoes a compliment. Nothing like that at all. But you know, like they're gonna be falling head over heels over her. They're gonna be like, oh my God, she's one of a kind. Real talk though, man. Because that's their currency. Their beauty is their currency. So with that being said though, right? Point of this I'm trying to get across is 18 and 29 for a female. Look, G, they are in their prime. Real talk. So, thing is though, they're not going to be in their prime forever. See, this is where a whole lot of men, right? That's where a whole lot of men, they don't tend to think about this part right here, because y'all only thinking about the present moment of how that female is doing your ass dirty. Real talk, man. But with that being said though, right? Just know this. These females are not going to be in their prime forever. Just like at this current moment, right? Like I said, you might be 18 to 29 right now. You are not in your prime. You haven't hit your prime yet. But point of this I'm trying to get across is, look, G, just know this. If you did not look, man, if you are at a time or place where you're not in your prime, just know this. These females are going to be in a time or place as well. They're just getting their turn first. I'm telling you what it is. Because look, G, what's going to happen is basically, like I said, 18 and 29. Look, G, when they turn 30, my G, damn sure 35. I'm damn sure 36, my G. Just know this. The same way they got dating on the easiest difficulty right now. Look, G, it ain't going to be like that for long. It ain't going to be like that for long, my G. I'm telling you, man, when these females start to get old, man, like I said before, I'm going to say this one more time. Like I said, you as a man, you see, when it comes to you not being in your prime, this one, good thing I brought that up, because title of this video is going to be called Females Have It Harder Than You in Dating. Oh, yes, indeed. Let me say this one more time. Females have it harder than men in dating. And the reason as to why females have it harder than men in dating, it's not when they're young, when they're going to have it harder than men in dating. They're going to have it very easier than men in dating. But it's when they get old. That's when they're going to have it harder in dating. Now, why? Why will females have it harder than men in dating when they get old? Like I've been saying this whole entire video, these females' currency, the currency of a woman is their beauty. It's their attraction. One thing about getting old, right? One thing about getting old as a human is basically your attraction starts to fade away. I'm telling you what it is. Real talk for both men and women. Your attraction starts to fade away. So when your attraction, and it could be with a whole lot of reasons as to why your attraction starts to fade away. You're probably not taking care of yourself. Life is just hitting you in the ass. You know, you probably using substances. Like it's just messing up your physical. It's messing up your physical shape. So with that being said, though, right? With that being said, you know, when these females are getting old, they're going to start to realize something. And the thing it is, they're going to start to realize, and they're going to say, damn, why does my dating life suck ass? The same way that you as a man right now watching this video, you might be, look, man, like I said, you might be 18 to 29, and you might be asking those same questions. Damn, why does my dating life suck ass? They're going to, look, man, these females going to be saying the same thing, my G. These females going to be saying the same thing. And like I said, you think you got it hard? You think you got it hard, my G? The reason as to why you think you got it hard than women right now is because you only focus on the present moment in dating. You're not thinking about the future, my G. Because if you were to think about the future, you would not be mad at this shit. Because I'm here to tell you right now, my G, you think you got it bad? Man, please, these females gonna have it way worse than your ass. Look, G, I remember I was watching this video like couple months now. I was watching this video, And basically it was this guy. You probably know the person it is I'm talking about. But it's this guy, right? It's this guy that asks people about their ages and shit. And basically when the guy that was interviewing, he came across a female, and basically, he asked for her age, and she said she was 60 years old. And basically she was giving out game. She was saying, like, basically, look, she felt like she was invincible. Real talk, man. Not invincible, invisible. Real talk. Like, she felt like people couldn't see her, my G. She feel like people couldn't see her. Like, she feel like when it comes to like a dating aspect, right? She was saying, like, no men look at her, and it just like life in general. When it comes to like getting compliments, ain't nobody complimenting her ass. She's starting to look, man. I'm telling you right now, the same way that you as a man watching this video, the same way you thinking that you are invisible, or that you ain't getting no compliments and shit like that. Look, G, these females gonna get the same thing. And they gonna get it way worse than your ass. Because look, man, you're only gonna have to deal with that for like 15 years of your life. These females, they're gonna look, man, this is the real thing I wanted to say. These females, they're gonna have to deal with that for the rest of their life, my G. These females are going to have to deal with not being in their prime for the rest of their life. Look, man, these females are only in their prime for about, like I said, 18 to 29. How long is it? Like 11 years, my G? These females are only going to be in their prime for 11 years. 15, like, I mean, if you want to count like 18 to 35, like 15 to 16, like, G, it's not even 20 years they're going to be in their prime, my G. Not even 20 years. Because after 18 to 29 or 18 to 35, whatever you want to say it on some shit, look, G, look, man, once they start to get old, because one thing about getting old, like, so let's say like 40 years old, 40, and most people lifespans is like 40 to like, people will reach like 70. So 30 years of their life, my G. 30 years. It might be even more the longer they live. Real talk though, man, but 30 plus years, my G. They're going to have to deal with not being in their prime. And they're going to have to deal with men not wanting them. They're going to have to deal with men not wanting them. And what I mean by men not wanting them, look, G, basically what I'm trying to say is, look, good thing I brought that up. Look, G, when you're not in your prime as a man, right? When you're not in your prime as a man, you're going to have to find a female. Look, man, you're going to have to find a female that's going to really be with you for you. And the reason as to why you're going to have to find a female that's going to really be with you for you is because, look, man, what I mean by that is you might have to, look, man, whether you like to hear it or not, you might come across a female that might really like you on some shit. But the thing is, you probably don't really like her. And basically, she's showing more interest in you. You probably got a specific preference or something like that. But you might have to settle. Look, G, you might have to do that when you're not in your prime. Same goes when it comes to these females. When they're not in their prime, they're going to have to settle, my G. They're going to have to settle. Look, man, do y'all understand what it is I'm coming from? And like I said, I'm making this video. I'm gearing this video to men. Because, look, man, because I know there's a whole lot of men online. They be, look, man, they be so down. They be so, like, they be thinking so depressed, so down when it comes to dating and shit like that. Real talk, man. You be saying, like, why does my dating life suck ass? Why I can't get no girl? Why these girls always leave me on red? Like, why are these females always rejecting me? It's like, why? Real talk, man. You're luckless in dating. I'm telling you what it is. It's really some bullshit. I ain't gonna sit back and cap to you, man. It's bullshit. But that should let you know, my G, you're not in your prime. Because like I said before, if you was in your prime, my G, they would not be doing that shit, gang. But you're not in your prime. But point it is, I'm trying to get across is, so you thinking that you have it hard in dating, my G? You thinking you got it hard in dating? Look, G, I'm telling you what it is. When these females get old, man, when these females get old, they're gonna have it way worse than you. They're gonna have it way worse than your ass. See, look, as a man, right? As a man, look, man, as a man, see, like I said before, as a man, your currency is your money. So look, G, when you start to get old, right? When you start to get old, you're going to start to have wisdom. And one of the biggest wisdoms it is, and look, man, good thing I brought that up. Because why do you think you always see a whole lot of old individuals? These old individuals, right? They always got the nice cars. They always got like properties. They always got like they always like what's some other things, man, that they got? Like they always got like I'm talking about like the, you know, like old rich people. Real talk, man, but they got like different businesses and shit like that. Look, G, it's a reason for it being. And the reason for it being is because, look, G, they gain a whole lot of wisdom. Or should I say they gain a whole lot of financial wisdom. So with that being said though, right? With that being said, that's what's gonna happen to you. When you start to get old, right? When you start to get old, you're going to learn from the mistakes it is that you made from your past. Therefore, like I said, your currency as a man is your money. It's how good you could provide. So, look, G, you're going to have so much wisdom to the point that that the currency, your money that you got or some shit, you're not going to be dumb and blow that shit away. I'm telling you what it is. You'll be an absolute fool. It wouldn't make no sense. Therefore, it's gonna be a 99% chance that you're gonna keep the finance. You're gonna keep the you're gonna keep what it is that you got. So, point I'm trying to get across is, you as a man, look, G, you're gonna stay in your prime forever, and you can pick whoever it is that you want to pick off the strength of the strength of how much you could provide or the money that you got. Off the strength of that, off the strength of, look, man. Off the strength of the money that you got, you could choose any hoe that you want, my G. Off the strength of your damn money. When it comes to these females, when they get old, they can't do that, my G. Good thing I brought that up as well. Because look, man, you see how off the strength of their, look, man, you see how when these females are in their prime, you see the strength that they have when it comes to like attraction wise. Like, they could pull a man. They could literally pull any man it is that they want off the strength of how beautiful they look, my G, when they're in their prime. When these females get out of their prime, man, when these females get out of their prime, they will no longer be able to do that shit. They will no longer be able to do that. I'm telling you, man. Look, man, I'm just trying to tell you the reasons, man. I'm going to say this one more time. Because like I said before, look, man, I see a whole lot of videos online. It's a whole lot of men. They're complaining. That's also another, I already made a video about that. Look, G, you need to stop complaining. I'm telling you, look, man, you're complaining for a reason because you feel like you got a reason to complain. But I'm here to tell your ass right now, what happens after you finish complaining, my G? What happens? Not a damn thing changed. I'm telling you what it. So what's the point of complaining, my G? But look, man, I already made a video about that. Go look at that video. But look, man, point of this I'm trying to get across in this video, though, right? All of this I'm trying to say is, look, G, I see a whole lot of men online. They despise what's going on when it comes to modern dating. And they're only focusing on the present moment of how dating is for them. And they're thinking that dating is the worst thing or it's the hardest thing or it's so impossible to do. But point it is I'm trying to get across is they only thinking about the present moment. They're not thinking about the future. Because if they were thinking about the future in dating, then what will happen is they will come to realize that these females are going to have it way harder than them. Look, man, the same way that you as a man right now, you talking that, look, man, you think you got the hardest dating life ever out in this bitch. The same way that you doing that shit right now, I'm telling you right now, my G, these females are going to do the same thing it is that you doing, and it's going to be way worse, my G. It's going to be way worse. Way worse. It's going to be doubled, amplified. What you going through right now, they're going to go through that shit times 10, G. They're going to go through it times 10. Because like I said before, their currency is fading away. I told you their currency is, look, man, these females' currency are their attraction. This is why they have beauty pageants. This is why they become models. This is why when you're on social media and shit like that, this is why you see a whole lot of people, both men and women, be praising their ass. Because their attraction is their currency. This is why, right? Good thing I brought that up as well, because this is why, right? This is why it might be a rich man, right? It might be a rich man. They see a beautiful woman working at like Target or something like that, right? And then, you know, since they seen them at Target or some shit like that, they will pick their ass. I'm telling you right now, it might look, man. It might be a celebrity man or a rich man or something like that. They go to like McDonald's or something like that. If a female look beautiful enough or some shit, they will take their ass. They would choose them. They would choose that beautiful woman working at McDonald's, my G. Flip the damn script or some shit. Look, G, look, man. You might be a handsome man or some shit. You might be a handsome man, but the thing is, that's not your currency, my G. So you as a handsome man, you working at damn Burger King, Taco Bell, something like that. Look, G, look, man. I ain't gonna sit back and cat team, man. This shit happened to me before. Real talk, man. Good thing I brought that. Man, I remember I was working. Look, man, I was working at this. I was working at Mercedes or something like that, right? I was working at Mercedes, and I had like the entry level type of position, right? I had like the entry level, like the lowest of the low position in the place. It was still a luxury ass spot, I ain't gonna lie. But point it is, I'm trying to get across though, right? It was this female, right? I ain't gonna lie, this female was bad as shit. I ain't gonna cat to you, man. And look, G, she was on top of the damn pyramid. I'm telling you what it is. So with that being said though, right? Look, G, that female, she only looked at my ass one time, and that's when I first started there. Look, and one thing about working at Mercedes, that's a very bougie ass place. So with that being said though, right? Look, G, for the rest of my days working there, look, G, she did not look my way. I'm telling you what it is. So, bro, point is, I'm trying to get across, my G. Look, G, look, man. Flip the damn script. Look, G, it don't matter how attractive it is that you are. Look, G, if you broke, these hoes would not look at a broke man's way. I'm telling you what it is out in this bitch. Real shit. They got discipline for that shit. I'm telling you what it is. But look, man, point is, I'm trying to get across though, right? Look, G. Look, man. The same way that you as a man right now look, man, the same way that you as a man, when you're not in your prime, I'm telling you, man, these females gonna have it way worse than your ass. Because look, G, whether you like to believe it or not, or you probably don't even think that you're going to do this. Look, G, you're going to do this. Look, man, you're probably doing it right now. You have no idea. Look, man, you ain't looking at these unattractive assholes. I'm telling you what it is. Damn sure when look, man, they old and unattractive. You are not looking at them, my G. I remember like a couple weeks ago, right? Might have been 2 weeks ago. I was driving, right? And it was like 2 weeks ago. I was driving on some shit, and I seen this it was this old woman, right? It was this old woman, and look, man, it's not the Bachelor or nothing like that, but she was like old, she was like out of shape and shit like that. And basically, look, G, I was at a stoplight, and look, G, I had no idea she was right there. Like look, man, or let me take that back. Look, man, I took a glance. Look, man, I took a glance at her, right? I took a glance at her on some shit. And basically, that's all it is. I did. I just took a glance. I went like, I just kept my face looking forward, my G. Point I'm trying to get across is you're doing the same thing. Now let me go into that old person perspective right quick. Look, G, I'm telling you what these females be going through when they get old, my G. They're invisible. I'm telling you what it is. They're invisible out in this bitch. Real talk, man. Look, man. She probably have no, that old lady it is I seen, she probably have no men looking at her, my G. None. She probably have no attractive men looking at her, my G. She's not in her prime. I'm telling you what these females gonna be going through when they get old, my G. Look, man, these females ain't gonna get looked at. These females, man, like they ain't gonna have the men it is that they want. You know, with some other things, man. Like look, man, the same exact way that you think dating is hard for your ass, the same exact way that whatever it is that you're thinking right now of how dating is for you as an average man, The same exact way, my G. When these females get old, they're going to do the same exact thing, my G. It's going to be way worse. And the reason as to why it's going to be way worse is because, look, G, look, man, it's like a life sentence, my G. It's like a life sentence. 30 years of their, look, man, they got like 30 to 40 more years left in this earth of them being old, my G. 30 to 40 years left on this earth, and they got to deal with it being old and out of their currency, out of their prime. Look, man, they're going to have, so what I'm trying to say is they're going to have more time not being in their prime, my G. They're going to have more time not being in their prime. Excuse me. They're going to have more time not being in their prime. You are going to have a shorter time not being in their prime, being in your prime. But the reason as to why you think it's hard for you as a man, the reason as to why you think you got it hard is because, look, G, it's simply because these females, they have the opportunity to be in their prime first. Let me say this one more time. These females, they got the opportunity to be in their prime first. And also on top of that, we live in a world where we want to have every single thing instant. Your prime ain't happening instant for you. So, you know, real talk, man. And one thing about manifestation and shit, when that shit not instant, right? When that shit is not instant and you gotta wait, you gotta be patient. Look, G, that shit gonna make you feel some type of way. You ain't trying to wait. I'll tell you what it is. But with that being said, that's the reason as to why you cannot see that these females are going to have it harder than your ass. That's the reason as to why you can't see it. I'm telling you, man. And look, man, I ain't going to man catch you, man. Real talk. Look, G, and you got to look, man. If you're a man watching this video, look, man. Like, just picture this right quick. Picture this right quick. Like, no zesty shit, but just picture this, my G. Look, G, if you was like, no homo, but if you was a female, right? If you was a female and you was a female in your prime, like 18 or motherfucking 29, my G. If you was, look, man, I'm telling you what it. If you was a female in your prime, 18 and 29, I'm telling you right now, you would do the same exact thing that these hoes is doing to your ass, my G. You would be abusing your power. Whether you like to admit it or not, man, you will be abusing your power. Don't believe me on some shit? Look, G, when you, look, man, don't believe me? Look, because you're going to be in your prime soon. You're going to be in your prime when you start to get older. And I'm here to tell you right now, the same way, look, man, the same way that these females is doing your ass when you're not in your prime, you're going to do the same thing to these hoes when they're not in their prime. When you are in your prime, you're going to do the same exact thing that they're doing. When you see a female that's not in their prime and they want you, thing is, do you want them? And now you got the power. Now you got the power in dating. Now you got the power in dating to pick whoever it is that you want to pick. Tell me, look, man, if you have the opportunity to pick whoever it is that you want to pick, would you pick, keep it a being? And if you're a female watching this video, take the red pill. I'm telling you what it is. But look, G, most men, when they're not in their prime, most men, when they are in their prime, look, G, if you're a female and you not in your prime, like you like 36 and you older and shit like that, they ain't looking your way, my G. They ain't looking your way. And the reason as to why they not looking your way is because you're not in your prime. You gotta, if you're a female watching this video, you gotta think about it, man. You gotta think about it. Why would and y'all might be the same age. That man might be 36, 35, whatever the fuck, and you might be 35 and whatever the fuck. With that being said, though, right, why would they not look your way? Because I'm telling you, I be seeing videos online of females saying, like, why does a man the same age as me not wanting me? You want to know why? I just told you why. Look, G, they're in their prime. And when they're in their prime, they're going to do the same exact thing it is that most females did when they was in their prime. They're going to pick the best option. They're going to pick the best option. And they're looking at you. Like I said, you as a female, your currency is your beauty. That's your currency. Your currency is your beauty. So, you know, one thing about beauty in the human form, your beauty takes shape when you're young. When you get old, it's going to disappear. So they're looking at you and they're looking to see how beautiful it is that you are. So you might have a good mentality on your shoulders. You might have you might just be, look, man, you might just be the best thing for that damn man. You might just be the best thing. You might have a whole lot of wisdom and shit like that. Thing is, though, you're not in your prime physically. And, you know, real talk, man, like I said earlier in this video, look, G, a man's currency, hence that word, currency. See, look, man, the first thing it is that we look at in a female, is her physical attractiveness. Everything else comes second, my G. Same goes when it comes to you hoes. Real talk, man. The first thing it is that y'all look at a man or some shit is how good that the man can provide. Everything else is second, my G. Real talk, everything else is second. So, point I'm trying to get across is back to the female that's out of her prime, and she see the man that's in her prime, but they the same ages. Y'all might be the same ages, and yeah, you might have a good mentality on your shoulders. But look, G, that ain't the first thing that man is looking for. The first thing that man is looking for, look, G, can that man picture him fucking you? I'm telling you what can that man picture him just motherfucking just being physically attracted to your ass? If that's not the case, my G, guess what's going to happen? They're going to look the other way. And I'm sorry to tell you, man. I'm sorry to tell you. But I'm just giving you the realities of how this shit going to be. To all you old females watching this damn video, I'm telling you the realities of this shit. I'm telling you, man, dating is going to be hella hard for your ass as a female when you get older, my G. I'm telling you what it is. Look, man, the only way for you to not go through this shit, and I might make a video about this again, but the only way for you to not go through this, man, you better keep yourself in damn physical attractiveness shape. I'm telling you what it is. That's the only way. And it's very possible to do. Look at Draya Michele. Draya Michele bad as fuck. I ain't gonna lie. Real talk though, man. Damn, she might be real talk, man. Draya Michele, Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce. I'm just naming celebrities, but his name just was celebrities. It's fitness trainers. It's like past their prime age. Like to all the females that's past their prime ages. I just want you to know, real talk, man. I remember I seen this movie like a couple weeks back, right? The movie with Kevin Hart and The Rock, like Central Intelligence or something like that. And basically like Kevin Hart wife, I ain't gonna lie, man. Kevin Hart wife, she bad as fuck in that damn movie. I'm telling you what it is, man. Real talk. And she was past her prime age. Point of this, I'm trying to get across though, right? Look, G. Look, man. When you're past your prime ages as a female, look, G. You're gonna have to put in overtime. And what I mean is, look, G. You can't just get away with it no more. And what I mean is, you see, when you like in your 20s, when you like 18, 19 and 20s and shit like that, what's going to happen, right? Yeah, all throughout your 20s, what's going to happen is basically you don't have to put in the work to be in your prime. You don't gotta, and this is another reason as to why men get mad when they're not in their prime. But real talk, man, you as a female, when you like in your prime ages, you don't have to put in that work to stay in your prime. You could eat whatever it is that you want to eat. You could do whatever it is that you want to do, and you will still be able to be in your prime. You will still be able to be in top tier shape. When you start to get older and shit like that, look, G, your metabolism slow down. Also, whole lot of shit. Real talk though, man. But all of those things, it's going to start to slow down. So with that being said, look, G, you can't do the same things it is that you once did in your prime ages. So point it is I'm trying to get across is you're going to have to put in that extra work. You're going to have to put in overtime. You're going to have to start going to the gym. You're going to have to start eating healthy. You're going to have to start look, man, basically what I'm trying to say is your physical attractiveness, it's going to disappear when you get old. So basically, look, G, what I'm trying to say is, look, man, you're going to have to put in that damn work to keep that damn physical attractiveness. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say if you want to stay in your prime. Real talk, man. That's all I'm trying to say if you want to stay in your prime. You know, you're going to have to, basically what I'm trying to say is, you're going to have to force yourself the same, because let me go with a man example right quick. Look, G, a man can reach his prime at a very young age as well. But the thing is, look, man, I'm technically doing this shit. Look, G, you got to force yourself to be in your prime as a man at a young age, because you're not in your prime ages. Look, man, a man prime ages is 30, 35 and above or some shit. So with that being said, look, G, if you want to be in your prime early as a man, you're going to have to force yourself to be in your prime early. You're going to have to force yourself, like, you're going to have to put in that work over time. Like, real talk, man, you're going to have to put overtime work in or some shit. And you got to force yourself to be in your prime. Same goes when it comes to a female. When they're not in their prime, they're going to have to force themselves. They're going to have to put in that overtime work to be in their prime. But the thing is, when it comes to forcing, both men and women, when it comes to forcing themselves to put in that work, put in that overtime work, how many people it is that you know is motivated enough to do that shit, my G? How many people you know is motivated enough to do that? And that's the thing. Most people are not motivated to do that. And since most people are not motivated enough to do that, basically what's going to happen is they're not going to be they're not going to be in their prime when they're not in their prime ages. They're going to be lazy. They're going to be unmotivated. That's why you see a whole lot of men in their early 20s. That's why you see a whole lot of men in their early 20s. Yeah. And that's, look, man, they're going to be complaining a whole lot about their damn dating life, but they ain't doing nothing about it. Same goes for a female when she get out of her prime. Yeah, these females gonna be complaining like an MF out in this bitch, but they ain't doing nothing about it. I'm telling you, man, that's how it be. I'm telling you the game. Real talk. Love me. I know exactly what it is I'm talking about. This is a 41-minute video. Damn. Real talk though, man. But other than that though, man, I feel like I got my point across. I feel like I said everything it is I wanted to say. Just this is how it be, man. This is honestly how it be. So, but yeah, man. Yeah, I got my point across. So this might be I like the but real talk, man, this is gonna be the last thing I'm gonna talk about. I might make a video about this again in the future. I might, but look, man, I'm just letting this. Look, man, I'm just letting all the men know, my G. I'm just letting all the men know. Look, G, you think you got it bad in dating? You think you have it bad? You think you have it bad because you getting flaked on, you getting rejected left and damn right, you getting cheated on, these hoes don't want your ass. Like, real talk, man, whole lot of fuck ass shit. Real talk though, man, you think you got it bad, my G? Shit, yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet, my G. You ain't seen shit yet. I'm telling you, man, these females gonna go through the same exact thing, and it's gonna be worse. And the reason as to why it's gonna be worse is because time is not on their side. Time is not on their side. Look, man, you're not going to be in your prime for about 10 to 15 years. Females, they're not going to be in their prime for 30 plus years. They're going to have to not be in their prime for 30 plus years. You 10 to 15. So another way you could look at this, right, is basically, I guess you could say, like what's a meme? Like congratulations, you're playing yourself, or, you know, I don't know. Real talk, man. I'm just telling you what it is, because, like I said, you're not thinking. Look, man, you thinking that these females, they got it hella easy in dating out in this bitch. And the reason as to why you think that though, right? Reason as to why you're thinking that is because you're only focused on the present moment. And it's very indeed true. They do got dating on the easiest of the easiest difficulty. Real shit. They do got it like that. I'm telling you, man, it ain't gonna be like that for long, my G. It ain't gonna be like that forever. And the roles are going to get reversed. You're going to be the one that's going to have dating on the easiest difficulty, the same way they got it. And they're going to go through what you're going through, my G, and it's going to be way worse. I'm telling you what it is, man. I'm telling you what it is. And look, man, good thing I brought that up. Good thing I brought. Look, man. And look, man, one thing about being a female, pause. But, you know, one thing, look, man, so let's say a female had money, right? Let's say a female, look, man, let's say a female was unattractive and she had money out in this bitch. Let's say a female was unattractive and she had money. Look, G, if a female was unattractive and she had money, I'm here to tell you right now, a man still would not want her ass. And the only reason as to why a man would get with her ass if she had money on some shit, the only reason why is because she had money. But I'm here to tell you right now, look, G, the same way that you as a man, right, you might be a handsome man watching this video, you still getting rejected out in this bitch. I'm telling you what it is. That's the same, like what it is I just said when it comes to these females. Like I said, your first currency as a man is your money. Your second currency as a man is your looks. If you got the looks master first, then the money, they will not look your way. Same goes when it comes to these females, my G. Their currency first as a female or as a woman is their attraction, their beauty. Their second currency as a woman is their money. If they only got the money aspect first, if they only got the money aspect and not the attraction aspect, you would not look their way, my G. You would not look their way. It's like law of polarity or some shit. Like, yeah, I think like law of polarity. Real talk though, man. Like, they're missing one or the other, and you're missing one or the other. Therefore, if you don't got both of them shits maxed out, they ain't looking your way on some shit. I'm telling you, this goes for both men and women. But look, man, I might be done with my damn yapping session, man. If I want to make a video about this again, I might. I don't know yet. Will it be no point? I don't know. But look, man, if you like this video, man, stay tuned for some more videos, and we out. V's up.